words Shemite versus Semite.
What's the difference?
The difference is this. The term Shemite represents an Israelite of the original Hebrews who were black, or men and women of color. I'm not making this a black and white discussion today. Abraham, father, Ham, Hamitic, black. So
in Latin,
in Latin, but also within the Hasidic Hebrew tongue. So when we say Hasidic Hebrew, there's over 300 dialects of Hebrew. Some people say, I speak Hebrew. What dialect? So in actuality, all 300 of these dialects within the Hebrew language are actually offsprings of its mother tongue, Aramaic, that Christ spoke. So that's another topic for another day. So every Hebrew is a Jew, but not every Jew is a Hebrew. So the word of the Lord did not say that the Jews were in Egyptian bondage. It said that the Hebrews, which means he rules. So when I say every Hebrew is a Jew, but not every Jew is a Hebrew, today's Jews, they are not Israelites.
Of those times.
They're Israelis, but they're not Israelites. So the term Semite was concocted and created by a German philosopher by the name of Dr. August Ludwig von Schlosser. During the mid-1800s, created the term Sem or Semite, even on the website of the Anti-Defamation League. On the website, on the ADL's website, it said that the term Semite or Semitic was created by a German philosopher, but they don't mention the name of the German philosopher, but I will. It's Dr. August Ludwig von Schlosser. So the term Semite is a misnomer. It's not an evil term, but they today are not the original Hebrews or Jews. So when you look at Black America in the Black diaspora, we are the original Israelites. While the Jews today are brothers and sisters, they are what I call our historical children. They are Israelis, but they're not Israelites. They are Semites, but they are not Shemites.
This might shock our world, but black people is the real Jews.
Okay, so
do you know black people
start wearing tzitzis? Start wearing tzitzis. Go follow the Bible. Start doing what the Bible says. If you say that you're Jewish, start doing what the Bible says.
Black people are the real Jews.
So, very good. Start following the Bible.
Why you want to steal
This is just straight out so funny. This is just a brilliant response that the Jew gives him. You know what happens? When you call someone up to responsibility, suddenly they go running away. You're the real Jew, knock yourself out. Start listening to what the Torah says, what the Bible says. Let's see what a Jew you are right now. It's all about living up to responsibility. That's what it's all about. And calling anyone to task to say, hey, step up to your game, buddy. I don't want to just hear the words.
Do not get in bed with them fake Jews. In Revelation, it's a warning about the synagogue of Satan. That's them fake Jews. The real Jews you need to be worried about are the black people over here getting killed, the black people in other countries scattered in the slave trade. That's the real biblical Hebrew Israelite, the quote-unquote, as the world calls Jews. Okay? So, some of y'all going to jump on here right away. Some of you Khazars that say I'm anti-Semitic. We're telling historical facts. Sorry, y'all. You might have been taught you was Jews. Maybe by faith you are, but you are not the biblical bloodline. All right? That's the black folks scattered among the nations. Wake up, deal with it.
We all know February is Black History Month here in Babylon. So as a Gentile, I'm here to profess, black people, you are Israelites, you are the chosen ones, you are a prestigious people. Your history is in the Bible. In order to better understand why you are Israelites, I'm going to bring forth two witnesses from Deuteronomy 28. And if you're not familiar with it, Deuteronomy 28 outlines the curses of the Israelites for not hearkening unto the voice of the Lord. Now I'll bring forth my first witness from Deuteronomy 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So, because you didn't keep your end of the covenant, follow the law, statutes, and commandments, you've been cursed. Let's take a look at one of those curses and see if it applies. Deuteronomy 28:66 reads, And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life. Now, I don't know about you, I live in America. Black people have no assurance of their life, and it's because you're Israelites.
It's about tribal warfare. That's where we're at in the U.S. I don't know where you're at in the U.K. You're from India, so I don't really.
I'm not from India.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, so
I'm an American
you
citizen.
have your own stakes.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know how you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Not sure how you got that. Okay.
Born here.
Okay.
Born here, and my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have some stake in the claim here. Okay.
But you're
a little different.
But you're
than
a
yours.
descendant of immigrants, settlers,
I didn't know.
colonialists.
Yeah,
You
colonials.
don't look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites
not.
are Native Americans. What are you
Sorry,
talking about?
you're not.
What are you talking about?
You're
Whites
not.
are Native Americans.
Really?
I think
What was happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with.
I don't mind going on a tangent, but what was happening before the 1500s?
Calm down. I think you're getting.
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here from
Do you know
Asia.
what indigenous means?
Listen, before
Indigenous
America,
people
let-
can't
you
come
let
from
me
somewhere
finish?
else.
Why do you ask a question if you're going to interrupt?
I'm not sure if you know what the meaning of indigenous means.
I do know what it means. It
Doesn't
means
sound
they
like it.
came here first, right? They came here from Asia by way of land bridge. Have an argument with Neil deGrasse Tyson or anybody else about that. I don't care.
Is he an American?
I genuinely don't care. Yes, he is.
Okay, just checking.
My point is, okay?
Nothing to do with crime. So far, you've agreed with me that these people
Because
are
you're
criminals.
derailing, dude. I'm trying
You
to stay
literally
on track.
sat down and asked me where I'm from. I think you derailed this conversation from the get-go.
by that, but I'm because
I'm
I'm
not offended. I'm
curious,
just wondering what it
because
has to do with
I'm
crime.
always curious.
We're going to talk about
why-
immigration. Don't worry. Later on, you can come back.
I hope so.
Right now, you're doing a very bad job of making the case that he's not pro-crime
I just
and
got a
pro-criminal.
round of applause. I could probably get another one actually if I asked for it.
Wow.
So I don't think I'm
Is
doing
this how
as
you
bad.
get rounds of applause? You sit in a room with 20 people who agree with you. Wow, amazing.
Check out this video, then I'm going to explain to you how settler colonialism works.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely. Born here.
Okay.
Born here, and my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have some stake in the claim here, okay?
But you're
a little different
But you're
than
a
yours.
descendant of immigrants, settlers,
I didn't know.
colonialists.
Yeah,
You don't
colonials.
look
yeah.
very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites
not.
are Native Americans. What are you
Sorry,
talking about?
you're not.
What are you talking about?
You're
Whites
not.
are Native Americans.
Really?
This idea that white folks are Native Americans now is not simply ignorance. It's the logic of settler colonialism. Settlers invade, they steal the land, and they replace the indigenous population. Settler colonialism isn't simply about conquest and stealing the land, though. It's a structure of replacement. The first step, invasion. Conquest, genocide of indigenous peoples. Step 2, reset the timeline. Pretend history only begins when settlers arrive in 1492. That means downplaying all the achievements, all the accomplishments of indigenous peoples. You stereotype and label us as uncivilized savages. Step 3, the colonizers now rebrand themselves as natives. And a lot of white folks have brainwashed themselves into believing the big lie that they settled an empty and uncivilized land and built America from nothing. It's the myth of Western superiority and American exceptionalism. And it's not just about stealing land and resources. It's also about stealing the identity, what it means to be a real American. And this is nothing new. Settlers or nativists have been calling themselves Native Americans for nearly 200 years now. And that's the trick. You destroy indigenous sovereignty, and then you get to redefine who's truly American, who's Native. It's white nationalism. It centers whiteness as the rightful owners of Turtle Island. The end goal is always to invert reality. The settler, the colonizer becomes indigenous, and land theft and genocide becomes heritage. But here's what the logic of settler colonialism tries to hide. Indigenous nations are still here. All the settler colonial policies meant to destroy and erase indigenous nations have failed. Native peoples are revitalizing their languages, protecting their sacred sites, defending their treaty rights, practicing their culture, just like they've done since time immemorial. And let's have a little bit of clarity. White folks can be from America, be born here in America, but you will never be indigenous to this land. And let me end with this. Indigenous peoples are still here, and we're not going anywhere.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about?
No, you're not. Yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not. Stop.
In discussions about the history and origins of people in the Americas, the key distinction is that white Americans are not considered Native Americans. Here's why. Ancestry, Modern white Americans are predominantly descended from European settlers and immigrants who arrived in the Americas starting around the 5th, 10th, and 16th centuries. Native Americans, also referred to as indigenous people, are the original inhabitants of the Americas and have distinct cultures, histories, and traditions that predate European colonization. Based on genetic and archaeological evidence, white people are not considered Native Americans in the sense of being indigenous to the Americas. It is crucial to recognize that Native American identity is multifaceted and encompasses cultural practices, language, tribal affiliation, and a deep connection to ancestral lands.
We should not be embarrassed or afraid to say that the Native Americans are white people of European descent. That is true. The people that we call Native Americans now are not Native Americans. And the reason they're not Native Americans is because they did not form a country called America. They are not native. America is a country. It's not just a place. It's not just a plot of land. It is a country. And before America was formed as a nation, this place was not America, because America didn't exist. America existed when it was formed. And so if someone can trace their lineage back to the Comanche on the Great Plains, well, that doesn't make you you weren't native to America. You're native to Comancheria. You're native to this. You're not native to the country of America. The people who are native to the nation of America, the people who formed this nation, were by and large, almost exclusively, white people of European descent. They are the natives of this country. They're the ones who formed this country. That doesn't mean that other people aren't allowed to live here. It just means that they're the natives. And again, anywhere else in the world, there's nothing controversial about pointing that out. And we're the only place where we're not allowed to say that. But I've been on this. I've been preaching this for a while now. I think we need to, and not just as a gimmick. Like, I really believe we should reclaim that.
Oh, Richard. First of all, that's completely wrong. And second of all, you're messing with Jeanette Reyes, which is one of mine. And as a Latina, I'm here to prove her point. So I'm going to give you a history lesson, son. You might want to pull up a chair and grab a pen and pay attention. Right? Because what I'm going to tell you is history and facts. Now I'll start with, did you know that white immigrants started coming into this country between the 18 and 1900s from Europe, from places like Poland, Italy, Germany, Ireland, right? Today, it's people from Slovenia, like Melania Trump, South Africa, like Elon Musk, right? They started coming here. And guess what, Richard? Step in so you can hear me. They were undocumented, and a lot of them overstayed their welcome. And there has never been a law that targeted white immigration. Go look it up. Did you know that the first law was in 1892? And guess who it targeted? I know you don't know. But the law was called the Chinese Exclusion Act. And it was the first immigration law going specifically after one ethnic group. And during that, after they passed that law, they still set quotas for white immigrants to be here while they restricted immigrants from countries like Asia, Africa, and guess what? Latin America, right? And while white immigrants have been here undocumented and still are, you don't see ICE raiding Irish pubs, right? And you don't hear about white immigrants stealing jobs. And you don't see the media painting white immigrants as a threat to society. Okay? Let me make sure I get all my notes. Okay? And while white people came here, or white immigrants came here and faced deportation, there was never a system to persecute them as it has been for the Black, Indigenous, Asian, or Latin communities. So with that being said, Richard, yes, immigration has always been about race. And race has played a big part on who gets punished for being here illegally and those who do not. But I digress. There goes your history lesson from a Latina.
So I posted my White People Are Not Native American video a while ago, but I'm still getting comments to this day saying that if a white person was born here, they are Native American. And I just want to remind you that that is not what the man in the Jubilee video was talking about. He was saying that white people are Native Americans. Like, they are from here. We have a claim to this land. And that's not true. And I need you to think about it in terms of, like, an invasive species. Asian lady beetles are not from here. They kill native plants. They kill off, native bugs even, too, because they're fighting for resources. Those beetles did not originate from here, and they're harming the ecosystem, which is why they're bad. Ladybugs are from here. So if something did not originate from here, and I can't believe I'm having this conversation, but it's not from here. There's a difference between ethnicity and nationality. Ethnicity, white people are not.
Immigrants overall are good for America.
Do you care more about helping Americans or immigrants in this claim?
Immigrants are Americans. I'm an immigrant and an American.
Well, immigrants are not Americans. Americans are the people that were born here.
That's not true.
I always think it's funny when individuals come to argue that have weak arguments like that. And it shows either you didn't learn something that you were supposed to about history in middle school or high school, or you didn't learn it when and if you went to college. And that is that every person who's from the 13 colonies is an immigrant. How and why, you ask? Here's why. Because all of the people that came to establish the 13 colonies came from overseas. They came from Europe, sailed across the ocean, landed, and said, let's settle here, immigrants. When they built homes, that made them settlers. But they didn't stop being immigrants. So all of you that are white, you're immigrants. And it's not just people who are white. There are people who are immigrants that came from other parts of the world. It's called immigration. But Republican leadership wants to lie and falsely say, we're more American than anyone that was here before us. You're stupid. Because being American is what this is. It's the Americas. And it was that before you landed. So that's called hate. That's called racism, ethnocentrism, etc. There's a long list of all kinds of words, and that's great. We're just trying to keep this broad and easy, everybody. So before the immigrants from Europe came and established the 13 colonies, for over 30,000 years, there had been millions of people already here. For instance, look at me, Latino. That means that I have a bloodline of over 30,000 years of people before the Europeans came. So let's continue on to another thought, and that is that Republican leadership and white-only society, meaning white-only communities, are after a white-only society. You have organizations such as the KKK. You have individuals that cover their face and go around with a flag that's a Confederate flag or has the German Hitler symbol on it, and say whites only. And they're all over the United States. So that is a narrow view of history. That's why you see this, that in our public education system, the Republican leadership trying so hard to push who Americans are. My message right now to all of everyone in the United States of America and all of the Americas, that if you were already here, you're more American than anyone white that came from across the ocean, that they are immigrants. They are the true immigrants. And there's enough history books, there's enough scholarship, and there's enough behind that.
We are a nation of immigrants. This country was not built by immigrants. This country was built by settlers.
They did not build something from nothing. They butchered everything that was already here and then called it progress. These settlers are genocidal thieves who could not do anything without enslaving another race. Only reason you're even defending settlers so hard right now is because you know your entire existence is inherited theft. This country was not built by settlers. It was bled into existence by people your ancestors enslaved. Y'all did not do anything but enslave. You were born on third base with blood already on your cleat.
Imagine being in a room where someone says that white people are Native Americans, and then everyone in that room cheering and clapping.
It's about tribal warfare. That's where we're at in the U.S. I don't know where you're at in the U.K. You're from India, so I don't really...
I'm not from India.
Oh, you sorry, your parents are from India, so...
I'm an American
you
citizen.
have your own states.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know how you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Not sure how you got that, okay.
Born here.
Okay.
Born here, and my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have some stake in the claim here, okay?
But you're
a little different.
But you're a
yours.
descendant of immigrants. Settlers.
I didn't know.
Colonialists.
Yeah,
You don't
colonials.
look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you
Sorry.
talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about?
You're
Whites
not.
are Native Americans.
Really?
I think
What was happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with it.
What? That's exactly what happened. On the Jubilee video, one progressive surrounded by 20 far-right conservatives, and I am drained from watching the first 10 minutes of this video. But this clip is so insane that they really believe that white people are like, how do we go anywhere from here? I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. It's just so insane that their ancestors committed genocide on Native Americans, and now they're claiming to be Native American. Like, bro, help.
Crossing borders is only heroic when white people do it. I hate to break it to you, Settler Dan, but your ancestors, and mine too, were the original illegal aliens. What do you call white people who cross the ocean, show up uninvited to land already inhabited by indigenous people who have lived there for thousands of years, and then destroy their cultures, their languages, their religion, and impose your own? Settlers, or rather, colonizers. And then what do you call people of color who cross the border, work jobs that nobody else wants to work, pay taxes, try to build a life in the so-called land of opportunity? Illegals. Illegal aliens. Criminals. If you're white, it's exploration. You're a pioneer. You're a settler. And if you're not, you're an invader. And for the record, it wasn't the colonizers that built the United States. It was the immigrants that came after them from every corner of the globe. They built the railroads, the roads, the factories, the farms. They built the United States.
It's surprisingly unclear to a lot of people. Immigration law is and always has been about making sure America has enough white folks. A lot of Eastern Europeans who came here in the 90s came over on diversity visas and genius visas. They called them diversity visas, but these were the countries that qualified. Maybe it's me, but ecru and eggshell seem to be the same color. And since I know there's always that one person who does not believe me, I will prove it to you. Tell me when your family came over here, and I will tell you how they got here. I will tell you the benefits they received for being white when they got here. I'm serious. If one person brings me an example of a white person who didn't benefit from whiteness, I will issue a public apology.
So Israel, the biblical Israel, was a black nation, an African nation that came out of Africa and kept constant ties with Africa. And so we have to remember then that Jesus was a black Messiah, not a white Messiah, and he comes out of the whole historical background of Africa, of African traditions, of African history, of African culture, the concept of communalism, the concept of a chosen people, the concept of kingdom of God on earth. All these things were out of African tradition, not out of the white man's tradition. And Jesus was essentially a revolutionary Messiah who was trying to lead a black people in a revolt, in a struggle and conflict with a white Gentile oppressor. So the whole church has to be viewed from the point of view of the white oppressor. The white oppressor has one kind of Christianity, has one kind of church. The black church has to become independent and go back to the historic African roots.
Now let me say something right quick. I think back on the African American people in America. I think how that they were taken against their wills, put in the belly of ships, brought over here, beat, cussed. Many of them died in the guts of those ships, thrown overboard. They were pulled from families over there. You ain't never heard a gut-wrenching song. Do you hear a black person sing one of those old black Negro spirituals? Nobody knows. I can't sing it like that, see, because I hadn't experienced what they be. When you've experienced hell, it comes out of the voice. I said, when you experience hell, it comes out of the voice. If you're one of those people that you got a problem with black people or whatever, you better shut your mouth, because they're God's people. You better hear what I'm saying to you. You better shut your mouth. You better shut your white mouth. You better shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you. I know some of you was raised in the deep South and you was raised by prejudiced people and bigoted people. You better get that out of your system. You better get it out of your system. It'll cause you to suffer right along with those masters. It'll cause you to suffer right along with them. These are God's people. And I know that there's wicked in white races and wicked in black races and all that. I'm not justifying none of that stuff. I'm just saying God knows what happened to the black race. He knows how they wound up over here. And God is going to reimburse the black people for all their trouble and all their labor. You watch what I tell you.
So Netanyahu and them were oppressed? For 400 years? What? Hey, riddle me this. What group of people was enslaved for over 400 years, lost their language, their identity? We're the Jews. We're the Israelites. Everything we went through was in the Bible. There's nothing that Netanyahu and them, the prime minister of Israel, can say or prove that they're the Jews of the Bible. What other group fits that? Nobody else fits that. China can go back historically centuries, okay? White people can go back centuries. We're the only ones that get stuck after slavery. We're like, who were you before slavery? We go, I don't know. We're confused. Why? Nobody went through what we went through. Nobody. So it's not that we're stuck. It's an identifying feature. What do I mean by that? Watch this. Deuteronomy 28. I want you to get it. Deuteronomy 20. Let's see what God says. You're playing victim. No. We're just speaking truth. Read verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now these curses, which are curses of slavery, look at verse 46.
Verse 46.
About the curses. Go ahead.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
For how long?
Forever.
So the curses of God are an identifying feature. It's a sign that you're the Israelites. Whoever fits these curses of slavery, loss of identity, colonialism, are the Israelites.
This is not to start any arguments with anybody, but I'm about to prove to you while Jesus, Yeshua, was black. His hairs were white as snow. His hair texture was also woolly. His eyes were a flame of fire. His feet were the color of fine brass burnt in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. He had hairs like wool. Black people hair. His feet was like fine brass burnt in a furnace. This is fine brass burnt in a furnace. This is also fine brass burnt in a furnace. Honestly, I don't know where this Jesus came from. The least they could have did was get the hair color right and the hair texture right. Even if y'all didn't want Jesus to be black, the least you could have did was do everything else right. And I can tell that a lot of y'all is uneducated because y'all love to say that Jesus is from the Middle East, so he's a goldish color. But back then, the Middle East was a part of Africa.
So here is the undeniable evidence why so many people are starting to believe that the black people are the true children of Israel, the Israelites. So the Bible says the children of Israel will be scattered to all four corners of the earth. It says in Deuteronomy 28, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people. That literally happened to us. From Africa to the Americas, the Caribbean, Europe. Like, we're literally everywhere. And starting in 1619, we were enslaved and oppressed for 400 years, just like the prophecy in Genesis 15 says. Now, can you think of any other group of people that would relate to? I know I can't. Thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Now, here's why we went through all of this, okay? Y'all made a covenant with us, his chosen people. If you obey, blessings will come. But if you disobey, curses will follow you. Deuteronomy 28 lays it out clearly. And we disobeyed consistently. That's why we have these curses. Slavery, broken families, disease, poverty, mass incarceration. Who else can you think of but us that goes through this at the most extreme, where no one else can even beat us in any of those categories? We're there. That's us, you know? But here's the beautiful part. Romans 11:8 says Yah put us into a deep sleep. Because I would always wonder, like, why are we just starting to figure all of this out? Well, the Bible has the answers. Yah put us into a deep sleep so we would forget who we are. But the 400 years is over. Now we're waking up. I'm starting to see it more and more now. From 2019 onward, you've seen it. People are leaving the false religions. They're asking questions, leaving the traditional. It's because they're getting called higher. And we might all not be on the same journey, but it's undeniable we're getting called higher. Many people. And remembering who we are, that's the biggest thing. So as far as knowing our identity of being Israelites, Hebrew Israelites, whatever you want to call it, children of Israel, this isn't about boasting in our identity or hating other nations. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about walking in our purpose. We get the worst results, no matter if everyone else is doing it or not. That's because we weren't built for wickedness. We were built for righteousness. It's in our DNA. It's in our blood. That's why he made us. He created us with this purpose, right? So we were called to be a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a light to the Gentiles. So this isn't about boasting in our identity, but it's about truly living in our purpose. We need to return, to the laws, the statutes, the commandments, and just being that holy priesthood, being a light to the other nations, and being a light to the world. Not to be religious, but to be restored. Because we're not lost, we're chosen. And so this is not to flex, but to function as Yah's righteous people. So we can restore our people and walk in the purpose he gave us. It's time to come home. So that's what I have for today. Peace and blessings, y'all.
I asked the question, who are the real children of Israel? And I'd like to answer it right away.
Go ahead, dear minister.
Like any good lawyer in a courtroom,
Talk, man.
he tells you what he's going to prove.
All right.
And then he goes ahead and proves it and let the jury make the decision.
Go ahead.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has said that Almighty God Allah revealed to him that the black people of America are the real children of Israel. And we are the choice of God.
That's right.
And that unto us he will deliver his promise.
That's right.
Nigeria is just a name that the British threw onto the amalgamation of a bunch of different tribes there that destabilized the region and led to a genocide and a Holocaust of the Igbo people. Where in the 1960s, millions of them were systematically killed and murdered. So this is so relevant because we have such a never again Holocaust theme, but these people had it. But what is mind-boggling to me, which I can't imagine why this is not in the news and not spoken about, is that a large chunk, more than a fourth of the transatlantic slave trade came specifically from this one tribe. So how are we not starting to connect dots and being like, wait a minute, so the tribe in Africa that the government of Israel is fascinated with and enamored by is now the blood of those people flowing through the African-American community here, which makes sense to me why they're all being like, we have an Israelite affinity where we're identifying, this is us, we are this. And so I'm like, so yeah, if the DNA of the blood of these people are in them, they have a valid claim to feel and say that. Where it goes wrong then is where spiritual bullies come and hijack that reality into forming cults that create hate and etc. So those are the people I battle. I'm not battling the reality that you could be from the house of Israel because, like I said, the bottle shattered and glass went around the whole world. I'm battling the bullies that are standing in between you and your inheritance, which is the Torah. Because if you really are from the house of Israel, come back towards the Torah. It's perfectly been preserved throughout the exile.
Why do white people pay so much attention to black people if they don't like them? You would think if you didn't like something, why would you be paying attention to it? I don't pay attention to things I don't like.
What's the answer?
The answer is the liar knows what lie he told. You see what I'm saying? So even if I made it deceitful and I made you think that the answer is over here, but the answer is really over here, I'm still going to be looking over here. Me, the one that tricked, because I know this is the right answer. Black people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity. That's just why they chopped those noses off of the Pharaoh and the Sphinx in Egypt in the first place, is because without this nose, we can tell you this is whoever it is. But with that nigga nose, it can only be niggas. Why would somebody vandalize a whole face and only vandalize one part? Nobody wanted to knock an eye off or take an ear off or no chins missing. No, just the nose.
You saying you're Jewish? That
No, I'm Jew, not Jewish. Jewish means like that of a Jew. I'm saying I'm Jew.
You're a Jew.
Blood of Christ.
That
Orthodox
comes from,
Christian.
right? But are you a follower of the philosophy of the Black Hebrew Israelites? Because that's where the idea comes from. Not all of those folks are extremists, but some are extremists.
I'm a follower of the idea. I have a vague idea that all people came from Africa. But what I wanted to do, now I could Andy Kaufman this about 7 more minutes and then tell you what it is, what
Should
the
I
whole
count?
point is.
Let's count 7 minutes.
No,
Or do less.
I did this to do a spoiler alert.
Sure, spoiler.
What's the first thing I said at the beginning?
We're talking about engineering and humans. We're all
And I
human.
said, and then what did I say we shouldn't focus on?
Race.
Not just that. I said they shouldn't teach this in school.
History.
The history, because what they do, what schools are doing is exactly what the CIA does with Pixar films and Disney films. They make Bambi's mom die in the beginning, right? And off that pain comes a purchase of ice cream. Off that pain comes, I need some more toys. Off that pain comes, I need a bigger house. Off that pain comes, I need more girls than my wife. Off that pain comes, so they put that pain in to make us, now we're the orphans of capitalism, to make us be consumers. And we need to be a community, not just consumers. So I could have went another 7 minutes by being a person who presents himself in a way that says, well, I don't have to feel your pain because I also have pain too that's not being recognized. And in every interview, when I say, well, why did I get to the point of putting up the tweet? No one wants to understand why I got to that point,
You
right?
had pain. You had pain.
Yeah, but no one,
pain in your heart.
but let's say this, undoubtedly, Jewish people have a lot of movies about that pain, and Black people have a lot of movies about the pain of slavery, right? It's almost impossible to find a movie about Mansa Musa. When you go to the African History Museum in Washington, D.C., it doesn't start with the idea of Africans being kings. It starts with the idea of Africans being slaves. But here's another interesting point about this. This was said to me one time and it stuck with me as a family member of mine. With Africans, how many times you've heard like a rapper, talk about we were kings? That's incorrect. If we're Jew, and since we weren't the kings, we were the slaves that Moses freed.